Good afternoon, fellow members of Congress. In January, I stood before you asking you to pass a bill that would protect our military from a government shutdown. Because of our inability to agree on a budget, our service members all around the world weren't getting paid. They weren't able to pay their bills on time or get groceries for their families. But luckily for them, the deadline for a budget was extended, so our sailors, airmen, and soldiers were able to eat that week. The financial well-being of our military should be at the top of our list of priorities, which to me and to many others means that their families also need to be at the top of that list. A lesser-known fact about military families is that the spouses of military members are routinely denied employment because their service member has to move every 3 to 4 years. Today I want to talk to you about these special and resilient members of our society. I hope you take away these 3 things. 1, that these spouses are being denied their constitutional right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness by being denied employment. 2, that their unemployment is negatively impacting our military missions, and that these employment challenges are creating great financial strain for our military members and their families. The stereotype of a military spouse, perpetuated by Hollywood throughout the years, is that they are uneducated, inexperienced, or all stay-at-home moms. According to a recent study by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation, the truth of the matter is that 34% of the nearly 700,000 men and women married to service members have at least a college degree, and 15% of those have a postgraduate degree. 94% of spouses actually want to work, and 70% of those actually working are not in their desired field or are severely underpaid for their degree and their experience. The unemployment rate for these individuals is at 16%. That's 4 times higher than our national average. As legislators, we are failing the military and their families by not addressing this issue. The core issue for military spouses seeking employment is frequent moves that are required for active duty service members. The average tour lasts between 3 and 4 years, meaning a permanent change of station is necessary every 3 to 4 years for these families. For anyone who has ever written or reviewed a resume, you know that the appearance of bouncing from job to job hurts your chances of getting an interview. Large gaps in employment give the impression of inexperience, which also hinders your chance of getting a call to an interview. Of course, these things are easily explained away if you actually get an interview. But to explain yourself and to explain your resume means explaining that you are a military spouse and that you are a potential flight risk. To deny these people employment is to deny them their basic human right of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, guaranteed by our Constitution. I spoke with many spouses from around the world who have had issues with employment during their husband's time in the military. I spoke to Emily Roman, who has a master's degree in education, 20 years of teaching under her belt, 4 of which are at the administrative level. When her husband, First Class Petty Officer Anthony Roman, was offered orders to a ship in Europe, she left her well-paying job to keep her family together and to see the world. After a year of being unemployed, she landed a job as a substitute teacher at the military school. She took a $40,000 pay cut, and she feels she will never again reach the level of esteem that she once held as an educator in the DC area. I also spoke to Kristen Fadre, married to Technical Sergeant Airman Frank Fadre. Kristen received her master's degree in psychology from the University of Maryland University College, and then the Air Force moved her family to Germany. Rather than put her career on hold, she volunteered for the Wounded Warrior Project, assisting service members who experienced trauma in combat. She was published and respected by her peers, and enjoyed her time with the Wounded Warrior Project in Ramstein, Germany. But eventually their tour in Germany came to a close and they were sent to Arizona. Ms. Fadre searched for jobs for 16 months because her 4 military moves made her a more risky hire for clinics, hospitals, and private practices. Eventually, someone saw her actual value, and $800 worth of licensing, biometrics, and background checks later, she was employed once again. Because for those spouses lucky enough to get a job, there's also the issue of cost for licensing. Teachers, lawyers, those in the healthcare field such as nurses, hygienists, therapists, or childcare providers need up-to-date state licenses, which can cost up to $500 with each move. This is a substantial burden on families already out of pocket thousands of dollars right after relocating. We are no longer in the age of our parents or our grandparents where a one-income household cuts it. The average family needs 2 incomes if they wish to not live paycheck to paycheck every month. Studies show that military members have benefits that come with enlistment, but even so, these single paycheck families are often forced to ask for government assistance. Authors Hosek, McDermott, Wadsworth, and Marshall stress that working spouses who contribute financially are also more likely to be emotionally fulfilled. When asked about improving employment opportunities for spouses, Chief of Naval Operations Admiral John Richardson said he was inspired by how energetic and supportive families are for the naval community. Well, Admiral and fellow Congress members, it is time we put our energy and in our support towards these spouses who have sacrificed everything to be with those who sacrifice their lives for us every single day. Spouse unemployment doesn't only affect immediate families, it affects our national security as well. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce and Hiring Our Heroes Foundation points out that families are forced to live on one income. It makes it much less appealing for service members to stay in their respective branches longer than their first tour. This hurts military retention and readiness. Why are we funneling money into training our soldiers, airmen, and sailors who are more likely to leave only 3 years into their military career because their spouses cannot work? Giving spouses the opportunity to provide for their family financially will ensure a mission-ready military. We can't legislate businesses into hiring these men and women, but we can provide them with incentives to do so. I come to you today asking you to vote yay on a $500 tax credit for spouses who are forced to relicense after a permanent change of station, and also a $500 tax credit for businesses who choose to hire military spouses. This isn't a new or novel bill. In 2015, this very idea was presented on this floor through the Military Spouse Job Continuity Act and was rejected. This idea is being revisited and revised by myself, Senators Tim Kaine, Ben Cardin, and John Cornyn, because we see that there is good work to be done here for these families. Employing our military families is not a partisan issue. So I'm asking the Senate to please take a stand for our military and their families and close the unemployment gap once and for all. Thank you very much.